The man hit the poor girl with all his anger. He couldn't understand how she could do something like that. He did not expect such an outburst from her, and this made him very angry. After all, she ruined all his plans. The man was furious and asked the girl how she could smile after this. It seemed to him that she was truly crazy, because in his opinion, only a crazy person could do such a thing and then smile like that. The girl, with a smirk on her face and all contempt, smiled and thanked him for such a compliment. Her behavior angered him even more. He gritted his teeth and said that she was arrogant. He was furious. The man screamed furiously at the poor girl because he wanted to know whose blood flowed in her. He didn't understand how she could interview their family and get pregnant from someone unknown. The man believed that the young lady had gone crazy. The girl was only encouraged by this man's behavior. She asked if he really wanted to hear who the baby's father was. The man was taken aback. The girl said that she met a young man in a shabby tavern. He was drunk, but truly beautiful. His muscles and hoarse voice caught her attention. He was truly an avid night reveler. The man was amazed by her words. He became even more furious. He did not want to listen to her and closed her mouth. The man said that from today she will be under house arrest, and he won't be able to leave the room. He shouted for the servants to lock her in the basement. The girl was a little surprised, since it was not difficult for her to piss him off. She said that because of her, he lost a good opportunity to sell his own daughter and get drunk on her grief. He was angry and shouted to the servants to quickly take her away. The girl shouted in rage that no one would touch her with a finger, because she couldn't allow them to harm her and her child. She stood up proudly and went on her own to the place of her long imprisonment. Much to her regret, she had no choice but to obey her father. The girl slowly walked into the room. It was hard for her, but she couldn't help it. She had no choice. She knew that one day her father would pay for such treatment. The girl knew that she had to take revenge on him herself. She lay down on the bed and slowly fell asleep. She knew that she had no right to give up, since she was carrying a child within herself. She knew what she had to do to ensure that they lived well and long. 6 months ago, the girl decided to run away from home and bring her plans to life. She simply had no other choice. The maids ran and looked for her in fear. They knew that if their master discovered his daughter was missing, they would not be able to say hello. The girl fled because her father had recently informed her that Count Bupo had requested her as his concubine. He already had 3 concubines, and everyone knew that they had decided to simply sell the girl into a harem. She was shocked by her father's words. He wanted to sell it as an unnecessary item, but the girl knew that she could not allow this to happen. She passionately did not want to marry such a pathetic man. Therefore, I came up with a plan and intended to bring it to life. She didn't know where to go, but she knew what she needed to do. She couldn't let her father decide for her and sell it as an unnecessary thing. The girl approached the house and saw men chatting incessantly. She wanted to approach them to solve all her problems and get it over with as quickly as possible. Suddenly, she heard an incomprehensible noise. She turned around and saw a man. He didn't look bad. She decided to help him and later ask him for a favor. She approached him and asked if he needed help. He looked at her in bewilderment and asked who she was and what she needed from him. The girl was a little taken aback. She sincerely wanted to help him. She asked if he needed help. He was angry and said he didn't need help. He looked at her and told the girl to leave quickly. The young lady looked and said she needed help. She said that she could help him, and in return, he would help her. So to speak, quid pro quo. The man did not understand what she needed. The man found this behavior from the girl very suspicious and incomprehensible. It was very strange that such a person was walking around alone in such a place. But, unfortunately, he had no choice, and he needed help. The man said he needed a place to stay for the night. The girl found a room where he could spend the night, and she also said that she put all his things on the table. He thanked her for her help. The girl knew that she could not miss such a chance. She was determined to carry out her insidious plan. She looked at him and said that since she was helping him, now it was his turn. The young lady said that she needed him to spend the night with her. The man was dumbfounded. He didn't understand her. He looked at her and asked with confusion why she needed this kind of service. The girl said that she wanted to take revenge on someone. He looked at her and thought that maybe a political conflict was brewing, and he was not a fan of such situations. The man said that there are other much better ways to take revenge. The girl assured him that she did not have time for another plan, and for all the stories. He was puzzled by her persistence and desperation. She knew that she had to find a man and get pregnant from him. Otherwise, nothing would work out for her, and she would be sold. She didn't want such a fate for herself, since this promised only troubles and misfortunes. Even the thought of it scared her. The man realized that the girl was desperate and had no other choice. He knew he had to help her since he had no choice. He calmly approached her and said that in this case he would help her, referring to the fact that he would rather spend the night with him than with another man. He assured her that a random passerby could be a dangerous one-night companion for her, and he won't harm her. The girl knew that everything was not important. After all, it was just one night, after which everything must change. He kissed her with all tenderness. They moved onto the bed. The girl enjoyed his company. From an early age, she was accustomed to the fact that strong male hands only caused her harm. But now she had a completely different experience. She felt good with him and enjoyed the warmth of his body. The young lady did not understand how a man could be so affectionate and gentle. She was amazed and felt bliss with him. It was truly an unforgettable experience and a wonderful night. She wanted to know his name. She didn't want to run away from him, but she had no choice. The man was sleeping peacefully after a stormy night. A servant entered the room and apologized to the master for losing sight of him. He was upset and assured the gentleman that this would never happen again. The man sincerely regretted that this happened. He wanted to correct the situation. The young man was surprised that his night stranger simply left and did not even say her name. He understood that he was simply doing his duty, but he was amazed at her departure. He remembered their closeness with warmth. Usually he feels discomfort with such legs and sleeps poorly. But that night he slept well in some strange hotel. This surprised him very much. He looked at his companion and asked him to immediately find the girl with whom he came to the hotel yesterday. He really wanted to see her. She was beautiful, and he couldn't get her out of his head. After such an unforgettable night, he passionately desired to meet the beautiful stranger again. The man wanted to see her at least once. He wanted to feel the warmth of her body more than once. Gupo arrived at the young lady's house. The father of a sweet girl almost danced the Mercedes Count. He was glad that he came to them, since he could quickly sell his daughter to the man. Mrs. Karen looked at the men with contempt and disgust. The Count saw her and could not look away. He said that the rumors do not lie, and she is truly beautiful. He came close to her and said that she was the sweetest in the world. He really wanted to have her, and as soon as possible. The Count said that the wedding would take place faster than he thought, and in particular, he would try to do everything so that the wedding took place as soon as possible. He desperately wanted to take possession of her. The Viscount was in seventh heaven. The Viscount said that he would be very glad if the wedding took place tomorrow. Mrs. Karen decided to interrupt their truly sweet conversation and exchange of pleasantries, which infuriated her to the point of infuriation. She said that she has one small problem, which is in her stomach. Karina said that about 6 months ago, she had an affair with a man in a tavern. The Count was shocked. He shouted at the Viscount with rage because he hid from him that the girl was pregnant. The Viscount said that he did not know that his daughter was pregnant, and he said that the child was not a hindrance, since he was not born yet. The Count, in a rage, grabbed the man and began dragging him to the door. The Viscount asked the Count to let him in, since he did not know that the girl was pregnant. But the Count wanted to deal with him immediately and resolve the issue immediately. He didn't understand how the man had the conscience to deceive him. After they left, Karen laughed furiously at the whole situation. She was delighted with the Count's reaction, and she was very pleased that her father would get what he deserved. The Viscount was furious that his daughter had deceived him. He hit her in the face. He looked at his daughter and said with rage that she had won the battle, but he would win the war. The Viscount came closer and said that he would make her life painful and unbearable, that she herself would beg for death. The man was angry and said that he would sell her and her child, and then he ordered her to be locked up. And in addition, he said that the servants should not give her a drop of water for a whole week. 3 years later, Karen was living the life of a maid. She did everything her father told her to do. The maid came and said that Karen was calling Viscount. The Viscount looked at her with all contempt and was glad that she looked so pitiful. He thought it was better this way, since she used to be very arrogant. He asked with a grin if she wanted to answer something. But the young lady listened to him silently. The Viscount said that after 4 years he had found a man who would buy it. Archduke Buster Caen was looking for a marriage partner. The Viscount said that there are rumors about the man that he is a murderer, but since this is for her, he is not particularly worried about her future life. Karen asked how much he paid for it. The man listed the entire list of what the Archduke provided him in payment for his daughter. He was glad, since it was a very good deal by his standards. The Viscount approached his daughter and said that if she ruined everything again, he would sell her by the barrel along with her son, adding that she needed to behave decently if she wanted to be saved, and leave this place. Karina did not respond to her father's words. When leaving, the Viscount said that they would set off in a week, so she needed to pack all her things in advance. Karen entered the room. Her son was very glad that she came. Karen was very happy to see him. He filled her life with meaning. Karina was surprised that her son was still not sleeping. Needy said that he was waiting for her, and that's why he didn't go to bed. She hugged him crazy and said that most likely they would soon leave this place. He was excited. Needy asked if he would go with her. Karina smiled tenderly and said that they would leave this house together. The boy was very happy and jumped into his mother's arms so much that he almost knocked her over. "Is Needy all right with her mother?" as she looked puzzled. Karina said that everything was fine. She was just very happy. The girl hoped that she could get them out of this place. They were getting ready to leave. Karina really wanted to leave the house as soon as possible. She knew that she could cope with everything and survive all the hardships if they left this unpleasant place. They arrived at the scene. The servants greeted the guests with all respect and said that the Archduke would only allow the lady and her son into the estate, and everyone else would wait in the carriage. The servants did not take this news very joyfully, but they obediently agreed. Karen asked how long it would take to get to the estate. The estate servant said that it was about a 40-minute walk from the main gate to the estate itself. Needy said that he really wants to go for a walk. They walked slowly. The boy ran and was happy, as he was able to see a lot of beauty that he had not seen before. Lady Karen was greeted by the butler. He greeted her sweetly and said that his master was awaiting their arrival in the living room. She appreciated all the splendor of the estate and noticed that the young gentleman was rich to his heart's content. But the young Archduke decided to go down and meet them in person. Karen saw the Archduke and realized that this was the same man who was with her that night. She was furiously surprised and did not understand how this could be. The girl was glad to see him, but at the same time, she was frightened by his appearance. He didn't recognize her. She flew up to him and realized that something was wrong with his eyes that night. But now he looks fine. And the man himself looked healthy. The man introduced himself and said that she should not expect love from him in their marriage. He said he didn't want a big ceremony, but instead, they would just sign the marriage papers. Karen agreed with him. The Archduke said that they would sleep in separate buildings, and she will have a whole separate house. He said in a calm voice that he asked her to live a modest and quiet life away from society. Karen agreed with everything. He looked at her and realized that she was not afraid of him. But, unfortunately for him, he cannot read it. Since the young lady did not show her emotions, the man said that she would be provided with a separate group of servants and maids. He also asked her to inform the coachman and butler in advance if she wanted to go somewhere. The girl said that she was happy with everything, but she would prefer to live in the house only with her son. The Archduke was puzzled and greatly surprised. She said that she agreed to all his conditions and asked him only for one thing. He agreed. The girl was very grateful to him. Bowing, she thanked him again. Karen said that she would live according to his demands. Covering herself with a fan so that he could not see her face, she asked if she could go since he did not need her. He let her go. The man looked after her. He thought she was acting like a rock. He thought for a second about the girl he met 3 years ago. They were similar. The Archduke had not thought about the young stranger for a long time. At that time, he searched the whole country, but could not find her. He noticed that they had the same build. The man didn't remember the girl being so thin. Karen called her son and said that they had to go. The joyful boy ran up to his mother. The Archduke was surprised. The boy had red eyes, just like the young master. He knew that this eye color was very rare, and such a coincidence was very strange. The butler showed her the house, and he asked with surprise whether she really didn't need servants. Karen thanked him for his concern and said that she could handle it herself. Oslo said that if she needed anything, she could contact him. He also said that knights would be on guard to protect her. Karen thanked him. The man left, leaving her alone with the child. Needy was running around the new house. The boy really liked the new house. He was glad that they would live in such a place. He was glad that they left their previous place of residence. He no longer wanted to return there. He ran around the house and climbed to the second floor in joy. Karen shouted after him to watch his step and be careful. She was happy and hoped that in such conditions she could raise him correctly. The man asked the Archduke if he really wanted to let the girl live alone with her child in the house, without servants. The Archduke said that she herself would come to ask for servants when she was tired of taking care of herself and her son. He didn't know what she wanted to prove with this, but he was confident that he could cope with everything. The Archduke was sure that if the girl asked too much, he would have an extra headache. The man looked at him and said that marriage is not a battlefield, but the Archduke was sure of the opposite. The man obediently agreed and left his company. The man wanted to live to see the day when the master's heart would melt and he would become kinder. Karen read a fairy tale to her son. She thought he had fallen asleep. She looked at him. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and began to smile. Karen asked why he wasn't sleeping. Needy said he couldn't sleep in such a beautiful house. Karen looked at him to see if he was interested in who his father was. Needy was surprised, as he did not know that he had a father. Karen asked him to keep a secret, and she will tell him everything. The boy was surprised and asked why he had to keep the secret. Karen said that when she met his father, he was bewitched by a toad monster. She said she read him a story about a prince, a princess, and a monster. The characters in the fairy tale are her and his father. He was glad that his mother was telling him. Karen said that his father is the man they met in the morning. Who has red eyes? Needy was upset and could not understand how his father could not recognize him. Karen said that his father had not yet gotten over the curse that the monster placed on him, and that's why he doesn't remember his family. And if he does remember them, the monster will find him and take him away. Karen said that for this reason he must keep everything a secret, and when he grows up, he will become a knight, and then he will be able to fight the monster, and when they defeat him, his father will immediately remember them. Needy wanted to wake up his mother. The boy really wanted to go feed the fish that were in the yard. Karen didn't want to wake up. She wanted to rest a little more. He never woke her up and left without her. The little boy was very glad that he came to look at the fish. He wanted to feed them. He looked at them and was surprised at their beauty and the fact that there were so many of them. He wanted to feed them so much that he accidentally dropped the bucket and shovel. Unfortunately, she fell into the fountain with fish. He was very upset because his mother bought this shovel for him at the market, and he did not know what to do because he was afraid to climb in and pull it out of the water himself. But suddenly, he remembered that he had a new friend who would definitely help him cope and get a shovel. He looked around, but he was nowhere to be found, and decided to go and look for him somewhere else. The Archduke arrived at his estate. He and his butler began to discuss military matters. He casually asked if anything important had happened while he was away all this time. When suddenly their conversation was interrupted by a little boy, the Archduke noticed him running and could not understand what had happened. The Archduke asked his companion what the young boy was doing alone and unaccompanied on the grounds of his estate. He didn't know what to answer. Because I was confused myself. Needy was very upset because he could not find his new friend to help him. He stood and cried furiously. He really wanted to get his spatula, and I couldn't find help. The Archduke asked him what had happened. The boy was so frightened by his arrival that he almost fell. The man looked at him and froze with misunderstanding. He inadvertently thought that he looked very scary since he was scared. The little boy looked at him in tears and did not know what to call him, since he knew that this man was his dad. But he couldn't address him like that. The young boy said that he was looking for his friend to help him. The butler said Oslo was busy running errands outside, so they have to help him themselves, and calm him down immediately. Needy burst into tears even more as he thought that no one could help him. He was very worried about his shoulder blade. The Archduke did not understand why the little boy was crying so furiously, and he did not know what could upset him so much. He picked him up and raised him like a kitten, and asked why he was crying so much. Needy said that his shovel fell into the water, and he couldn't pick it up from there. The Archduke said that he would help him, and asked where the spatula was. Needy was very glad that he would now help him get the spatula. He said where she was, and they went. While Needy called the Archduke uncle, he hesitated, since he was not used to hearing such things. The Archduke carried the young boy in his arms. He was surprised at how light the young boy was. He asked him if he was eating well. Needy was shocked and did not know what to answer, as he was afraid that he might be scolded. Needy knew that he might get a lot of scolding for eating too much. He remembered his grandfather saying that any scraps were a luxury for them. His grandfather claimed that food was a big waste of money for them. So, they were content with what was given to them. Needy said he eats once a day. The Archduke was shocked. He asked how he could eat once a day. Needy was very scared of his reaction. He said that they eat once every 2 days. The Archduke was even more surprised and angry. The boy saw his reaction and said that they eat once every 3 days. Angrily, the Archduke asked what was going on and how they could eat like that. The man ordered his companion to call all the servants and promised to figure out what was wrong, since he wanted to restore order to his estate. The Archduke did not understand how a girl could raise a child alone without servants and do all the household chores. He didn't understand how she could starve her son. The Archduke took the little boy's spatula from the fountain. Needy was incredibly happy that he was helped. The Archduke said that if the boy got into such trouble again, he could easily call him for help, and he would definitely help him. Karen came running to their noise. She hugged her son, and he ran to her in joy and hugged her back. She was very worried about him, as she had been looking for him for a long time. He said that his uncle helped him and took out his spatula. Karen was surprised at this turn of events. She looked in surprise at the men who stood near the fountain. The Archduke was very unhappy. The man looked at Karen and said that they had not seen each other for quite some time. He looked at her and noticed that she looked a little sick, but remained just as cold towards him. He looked at her and asked if it was true what he heard, that the little boy only eats once a day. Karen was very surprised by this question, and she said that this could not happen. The man looked at her and said that he personally heard such information from a little boy. The Archduke told the young lady that if she still found it difficult to live without a maid, she should have told him about it right away, instead of leaving the child hungry. Karen looked at him and said that there was a misunderstanding and everything was wrong. Karen approached her son and asked him if they ate 3 times a day, and also said that she was baking him cookies. She said that he should tell his uncle the truth. He looked at her with misunderstanding and said that if he eats a lot, they will definitely yell at him. The Archduke was surprised. Karen hesitated a little and told her son that their life was much better now and different from before. The Archduke did not understand what was happening at all and how this could happen. The girl's words did not fit into his head. Karen looked at the man and said that her child was just a little confused and everything was fine with them. The man was furious. He did not understand what had happened to them before and why they were behaving this way. So he said he would check everything personally. He intended to go to their house and see how they lived. Karina was shocked. She didn't understand why he needed to go somewhere himself and watch how they lived. She did not interfere with him, and they went to the house. The Archduke did not walk, but simply flew, because he wanted to quickly figure everything out. He flew into the house at full speed. When they entered the kitchen, he saw food on the table. The man thought that the young lady was not lying to him, since there really was food, but he was puzzled. And he asked why there were so few ingredients in the food, since there was little meat and vegetables. He asked her how she could cook the same way for a whole week. He was puzzled by the whole situation. He asked her if she knew how to cook and use other ingredients. The girl hesitated. I didn't know what to answer. After thinking for a while, she said that next time she would buy other products. The Archduke looked at her and said that usually noble ladies do not know how to cook, and there is nothing wrong with that. He intended to send servants to her so that they could live in comfort. The girl was against strangers in her new home. The Archduke told his subordinate that they would dine together today, and he asked that food be prepared for them for 3. The girl was puzzled. She didn't understand what was the matter and why he was doing this. The Archduke and Karen sat on the terrace and drank tea. The man asked the girl if she would like to find a teacher for her son. The girl looked at him and said that it was too early, since he was still very young. The Archduke was sure that the boy needed to learn the basics of etiquette and language. Looking at her, he said that from now on they would eat together. The girl was puzzled by his persistence. He said that even his work would not interfere with him and he would take time to eat with them. Karen looked at him and asked if he himself didn't tell her to live quietly and not create unnecessary problems for him. She didn't understand why he so suddenly wanted her to change. The Archduke calmly sipped his tea. He said in a quiet voice that he had his reasons. Karen didn't really like this whole situation. She didn't understand why she had to talk to him and also eat at the same table every day. The thought alone made it difficult for her to breathe. The girl told her companion that if he wanted, he could only eat with her son. The man was furious at her words. He didn't understand what she wanted to say with them. Karen averted her eyes and said that they were still having an arranged marriage, and if he needed it, she would obediently play the role of the Grand Duchess. She looked at him and told him that he shouldn't care about her daily life. Since she doesn't want to be too noticeable, she also added that if a man tries for Needy's sake, then he can freely spend time with him and build a trusting relationship, and she, in turn, will train him well so that he does not create any problems. The man was puzzled by her words. He wanted to continue the conversation, but the butler came and said that their dinner was ready. Karen said that she did not want to eat and asked if she could go to her room. The man was so out of sorts that he said that she was free to choose for herself. Karen decided to go to her room. She was very tired and could not think about anything except a warm bed. She lay down on the bed and fell asleep instantly. Needy was very happy about such delicious food. He praised the food very much and said that it was the first time in his life that he was eating such delicious food. From all the boy's emotions, it was easy for the Archduke to guess what he liked. The man asked the young boy how his mother cooked. The mischievous boy said that when his mother cooks, she is the most beautiful, because she wakes up and walks only when she needs to prepare food. The man was surprised by the boy's words and asked him that his mother usually lies in bed all day. The mischievous boy confirmed his words and said that if he himself does not tell his mother what he wants to eat, then she will not cook anything. The man thought that the girl might have a depressive disorder. Unfortunately, he had already met a person with such problems. He was a general who was captured by his enemies. He was a brave and strong man, but in the end he committed suicide in a prisoner of war camp. Even today he could not forget this story. The Archduke's companion asked his master to be a little kinder to the Duchess. The Archduke promised that he would do his best as he was trying very hard. He asked his servant to free him up noon tomorrow. The Archduke came to his wife and said that they would eat together. Karen was very surprised because she didn't want to spend time with him. The girl wanted to be alone, but the man insisted that she sit with him. Karen got her son ready for school and told him to be sure to obey the teacher. The boy was happy to say that he would definitely listen to him, and also added that the teacher praises him every day. She looked at him and told him to study well, and then when he grows up, he will be able to teach her. The boy looked puzzled at his mother, as she was a little pale. He said that she should eat very well. Suddenly, a man's voice was heard behind them. The Archduke told the boy not to worry and to go to school calmly, and he would immediately look and be sure to take care of his mother. Karina was in shock and did not understand what the man was doing near their estate, but the Archduke did not look at her. He asked the boy to be attentive in class. Needy was in a hurry to go to class. He wanted to quickly start his studies and, to celebrate, he ran to the carriage. The man called Karen to go with him and have lunch. She obediently agreed. When they were sitting at the table, she asked him why he was behaving this way. She was puzzled by his behavior and didn't want to draw too much attention to herself. He looked at her and said that no matter what, they are still a family and should pay at least a drop of attention to each other. She was puzzled by this answer and said that she would not mind if he ignored her. The man was puzzled. He said that he was against this and asked her if she really considered him a very bad person. The girl did not answer his provocative question. She only added that he himself personally asked her to live a quiet life and not create any problems for him. The man looked at the young lady and said that these words of hers meant nothing, and they should not live like strangers. She said that she would play the role of a wife perfectly in front of people, so he shouldn't worry. He said that wasn't what he meant at all. Karen asked if he was really afraid of her. The man did not answer. She said that she will do whatever is necessary to play her role properly, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. The girl decided not to continue the meaningless conversations and slowly walked away. The servant asked the man how their dinner was. The man was furious and said that their conversation did not work out at all. There was still no eye contact. It seemed to him that he was talking not to a woman, but to a soulless doll. The servant suggested that the master give some gift to his wife. The Archduke was angry. He didn't want to do such stupid things, because he believed that this was unacceptable on his part. The servant said that after all, she was his wife. The man said that it was only on paper, so he saw no point in pretending and playing. The servant said that he would not talk about it anymore. He was worried that his master might regret what he had said. The Archduke thought it was funny, and he didn't understand what he might regret. Karen was very worried about her son, since it will be the first time he sleeps alone without her. The girl asked if he would cry. Needy assured her that he would be fine, and that he is quite an adult. Karen admired her son. She remembered how the servant told her that the boy was already much smarter than his peers. The man suggested that she let Needy go to a special training event. The annual event was attended by many children from noble families. Karen was very proud of her son, as he grew up a lot and became independent. The Archduke approached them. He wanted to see the boy off. Needy was very happy to see the man appear. To celebrate, he ran to him to hug him. The Archduke wished the little boy a good journey. Needy was very happy and thanked the man, and he hurriedly ran to the carriage. I said goodbye to everyone and left. Karen was very grateful that the Archduke came to see Needy off. She thanked him and asked if she could go now, because I didn't want to take up his time. He grabbed her hand and asked if she could talk in private. The man said that the conversation would not take much time. He looked at her and was surprised at how thin she was. He thought that she could break at any time. Karen asked the man to let her go because she was not comfortable. She was a little confused by the man's behavior. The Archduke apologized to the young lady for forcing her to dine with him. Unfortunately for him, he didn't think about her feelings, and that was quite selfish of him. Karen said that everything was fine, so there was no need for him to apologize. The man said that he didn't want to bother with getting married or having an heir, so he just wanted to find a partner with whom he could collaborate. He said that, for this reason, he could not just leave the girl alone. Karen hesitated. She did not understand what kind of relationship he wanted to see between them. The man didn't know what to say. He was not ready for such a question. Hesitating a bit, he said that they could be friends. He said without even thinking about it. The girl was surprised. He lowered his eyes and said that she herself said that she did not want to have a close relationship. In his opinion, since they were supposed to live the rest of their lives together, he would like to dispel the awkward atmosphere between them. Karen did not know what she should do or how to behave, because she had never had a friend before. She didn't know what the terms of friendship would be, but she knew it would be a lot of trouble. After thinking a little, the girl accepted his offer of friendship. They shook hands as a sign of agreement. Karen was fast asleep. Suddenly, she heard a rustling and an incomprehensible noise. From a distance, a man's voice wished her good morning. The girl was in shock and bewilderment. She couldn't understand what he was doing in her room this morning. Her husband said that she sleeps for a very long time. The Archduke said that it was already midday, and he was very hungry while he was waiting for her. Karen was shocked and did not understand why he was waiting for her. Her reaction made him laugh. He said with a smile that he wanted to eat with a friend he had recently made. The man says Needy will be back soon, so she better get ready. He asked if he needed to call the servants to make it more comfortable and quicker for her to get ready. Karen said that she would get ready herself, since she was already used to it, and there was no need to call someone. The man sat and thought about her words. He thought her behavior was strange. Since most children of aristocrats live in abundance and almost never do such things on their own, they cannot even wash themselves or dress on their own. The man did not understand how she could cope completely alone and also manage the estate. The girl left the room wearing only a towel. The man was shocked. He thought she was crazy. Karen calmly said that she needed to get dressed, so much so that she asked her to turn away for a while. The man was shocked and furious. He shouted that she was completely crazy, because I decided to do such things in the presence of a man. Karen said that she completely forgot that he was in the room. He was at a loss and wondered if the girl really didn't fight anything. He stole a glance in her direction and saw that her back was covered in scars. The Archduke thought that she was like an unfortunate tree, battered by the wind. The man could not understand where they were coming from. He knew that such marks remain after many years of abuse. The Archduke remembered all the words and behavior of the girl and boy. His puzzle fell into place. He realized that she was repeatedly bullied and managed to break her will. He saw that she had completely lost hope. The man was walking down the corridor. He noticed that the girl was wearing the same clothes as yesterday. The man told his companion that she could call him by his first name. After all, it is customary for friends to address each other by name. Karen said that she doesn't fully understand why he wants to be friends with her. The man looked at her and asked with a grin if maybe she wanted to be lovers. The man asked if they should behave like ordinary spouses. Karen was scared and did not understand what he was talking about. She asked if she had somehow neglected her duties as his wife. The girl thought that he wanted to return her to her father. She frantically begged him to tell him what she had done wrong. He said that she had nothing to do with it, was not guilty, and had not done anything. Karen was at a loss. She did not understand what then was the reason for such strange behavior on the part of the man. Buster said he was very lonely. Karen decided to touch his forehead. He didn't understand what the girl was doing. Karen said everything was fine and he didn't have a fever, but she couldn't understand why his face was red then. Karen asked how he was feeling. Buster hesitated and said it wasn't very good. Buster thought he had a lot to learn before he could start communicating. Buster looked at the young lady and invited her to live together in the mansion. He said he wanted them to move in with him by the end of the month. He also said that if she was not comfortable, he would reduce the number of servants in the mansion. This was very unexpected for the girl. She asked if he even knew what he was talking about. Buster told her not to be so surprised, because he should have done this even earlier. But unfortunately, he was late. He wanted the girl to live like a real duchess. Buster was pleased that the girl knew the internal management of the estate, since it would be useful to her in the future. Karen screamed furiously that she couldn't move, and she said that if she did something wrong, then she would correct it. She begged him. Buster blamed himself for not thinking about her feelings and emotions. He sincerely did not understand what kind of monster could break such a chic young lady from high society. He grabbed her hand and said that she was a grand duchess from high society, and no one has the right to even raise their head and look into her eyes. Since the girl is the only grand duchess in the entire state, therefore, she is his wife. Buster promised her that he would never forgive anyone who tried to harm her in any way. He said that also her father would not dare to harm her again. Buster looked at her and said that she was free to live as she wished, and it would be okay if she wanted luxury or caused problems. He said that as long as there was no murder involved, she could do whatever she wanted. Karen laughed wildly. The man was shocked by this reaction, since it was the first time he saw her smile. Her smile was sealed in his heart. She thanked him for his warm and kind words. The Archduke said that such a reaction symbolized an agreement. The girl asked with caution whether such actions would be normal. He looked at her and said with a smile that he would be glad if they moved immediately, namely today. Buster was serious. Karen shouted after him that she was not ready to live next to other people, but the young man assured her that there was nothing to worry about, since sometimes he also doesn't want to be among a large number of people. Karen asked Buster for his own room, but he just looked at her and said that they were spouses. Karen tearfully begged him. He was persistent and refused her. Buster approached her and said that he had already decided everything, but not as the one who bought her, but as her husband. Buster said that first, they need to take care of her nutrition. He took her hand and they walked. Karen held his hand and remembered that night. She remembered the warmth of his hands. He was very gentle with her then and now. Needy ran up to Karen. He, at full speed, rushes to his beloved mother. Needy told his mother that he missed her very much. Karen also missed her son. Buster pulled the boy away and picked up the kitten. He told Needy that he shouldn't jump on his mother like that anymore. The little boy did not understand what it was. He started crying. Karen said that everything is fine and she can wear it. But Buster was against it. He told the boy that his mother was very fragile, and if such a big boy jumped on her, she might fall apart. Karen was shocked. She approached them and said that this was not so, and that she could easily lift and carry her son. Buster walked up to Karen. He raised his hand and told Needy to look at his hand and his mother's hand. The girl said she was fine. Buster said he would leave her alone after she started eating normally. Buster carried Threads in his arms and asked him how his children's seminar went. Needy said he made a lot of new friends. Karen looked at them as if spellbound. They seemed so happy to her, and she knew that this is what a father and son should look like. The Duke dismissed all the servants, and they were left alone. Karen thanked him. Buster asked her if she could hold meetings from time to time as a duchess. Karen said she would do her best. Buster said she didn't need to force herself. They sat at the table, and Karen felt its warmth. He filled her life with light. Buster woke up Karen because she had a nightmare. The girl was embarrassed. He invited her to come to him. The girl went obediently. Buster hugged her with all tenderness. Karen felt very good next to him. The warmth of his body warmed her very much. Buster asked her if she wanted to work out. The girl didn't want to. She wrapped herself in a blanket and lay motionless. Buster said that she must keep her body healthy and pay more attention to your health. But Karen was skeptical. She didn't like this. Buster decided not to give up. He asked the young lady if she would like to go with him to the night festival. She was shocked. Emotionally, she untangled herself from the blanket and rushed towards him. Karen didn't expect Buster to be so close. She glared at him and became embarrassed. He said with a smile that he finally saw her face. Karen was not comfortable and asked not to come close to her. Karen said that it is difficult for her to be in crowded places. Then he decided to ask her if she would like to go to the masquerade ball with him. The girl was surprised. Buster said that there are several festivals throughout the year in the South, and this time the theme of the holiday will be masquerade. You must be wearing a mask. Karen asked if she needed to wear a mask to hide her identity. Buster said masks are required to enter. The girl didn't understand what was fun about masks. She was sure that it was very difficult to see in them. Buster looked at her and admired her. Every time he sees new emotions on her face, he wanted to see them all. Karen addressed him formally, but the man said that she should stop thinking about formalities and simply address him by name. He said that they were engaged and equal in title. Buster, looking at his wife, remembered the young stranger. He was ashamed that he suddenly remembered her in front of his wife. Buster said that she was a duchess, and she would have to communicate with a lot of people, and it will be better for her if she accepts it and gets used to it. Karen hesitated and said that she had no one else to talk to except her father. Buster told her not to worry, because they can practice communication from time to time. Karen was surprised and asked where and when they could arrange a meeting. Buster listened to her, but again remembered his stranger. He was sure that her voice was similar to the voice of a stranger. He had a familiar feeling. He didn't understand how there could be such a coincidence. Karen said that she always had to consult her father before going anywhere. She asked if she now needed to consult him before going anywhere. Buster said that she could find him in his office or ask Vincent where he was. Buster asked how old Knightons was. The girl did not expect such a question, but she humbly replied that the boy was 2 years old. Buster believed that if the boy was 2 years old plus 9 months, she carried him. It was published for 3 years. He hesitated because there were too many coincidences. Buster asked how exactly the boy's father died. Karen was not ready for such questions. She was very nervous. Buster said that he was fond of adding the boy to the family register, and he wanted to get all the information about him. Karen said it was just an accident. Karen said that if this causes him problems, then he does not need to add threads to the family register. Buster was surprised and asked what she was talking about. Karen wanted to raise her son free and not be burdened by the title. She sincerely wanted her son not to fight for power. Buster asked, puzzled, what she was hinting at. Karen said that there are more worthy to become his heir. She looked away from him and said that it would even be good if he started a relationship with someone else. He didn't understand what she was saying. Karen said that he could easily have a mistress, and she would not interfere with them. Even if necessary, she will move to another estate. Buster stormed out of the estate in a rage. On the way, he was met by Vincent. The man was puzzled by the gentleman's mood. He asked how it went. Buster was angry. He didn't understand how she could say such a thing. And who did she even take him for? Vincent kept asking the gentleman what had happened because he wanted to help him. But Buster didn't say anything, just asked how he thought he was cute. The servant said that the gentleman was attractive. Buster thought it was his wife who was strange. Buster asked Vincent where Thread was now. The man said the boy went on a mini expedition with his shovel. The man noticed that the gentleman loved the boy very much. He also said that he was very young, but for his age he was quite polite and smart. He believed that he was raised well. Vincent said that what interests him most is the fact that the boy is very similar to the master. Buster realized that he was not the only one who noticed the resemblance. Buster said that Vincent would turn to those in the shadows so that they would find and interrogate the man who worked 3 years ago for the Viscount, namely the one who knows all the internal affairs. Buster knew that there were too many similarities between Karen and that girl. Buster told the servant that he wanted to find out who really got Karen pregnant 3 years ago. He wanted to know only truthful and accurate information. The servant said that he would do everything, and he had nothing to worry about. He walked away and left the gentleman alone with his thoughts. Buster decided to go check on Threads on his expedition. Nightens was very happy to see the man. Overjoyed, he rushed into his arms. Buster asked the boy what he was doing. Needy said that he was building a sandhouse and invited the man to play with it. Buster looked at Threads and saw himself in his youth. The boy was very similar to the master, with his eyes and even facial features. Buster showed the boy that you can mix sand and water and you will get a much better shape for construction. Needy was very happy about this discovery. Buster asked the boy if he ever wanted to see his father. Needy knew the truth, and he also knew that he couldn't tell his dad the truth because the monsters might take him away. Needy said that he only wants his mother and uncle. Needy approached Buster and asked if he liked his mother. Buster said that he liked her and Needy too. The boy was very happy. Buster asked the boy if he wanted to go to the night festival with him. Needy didn't know what it was. Buster said it was a very fun evening fair. Needy hesitated. He knew that Mom didn't like it when there were a lot of people around. Buster asked the boy if his grandfather had ever hurt his mother. The boy hesitated, but he told everything. Needy said that Grandpa visited Mama every day. She often bled, and therefore always cried. But the girl, on the contrary, reassured her son and said that everything would be fine. Needy hated his grandfather for everything he did. Needy cried furiously. Buster calmed him down. The man said that everything would be fine and that he was nearby. Needy said that they lived in a dark place, under the steps, and that it was very creepy. Buster was shocked. He couldn't believe that they had gone through such torment. He hated the Viscount, and I would never forgive him for such terrible deeds. Buster told the boy not to cry or worry. He will completely sort it out and repay his grandfather 100-fold. Needy didn't understand what he was talking about. Buster said that the boy would no longer have to see his grandfather, since he would send him very far away. Needy thought for a while. He threw himself into Buster's arms and thanked him for his help. Buster said he didn't need to thank him since they were family. Needy says he will definitely beat the monster. Buster didn't understand what he was talking about, but he said he was looking forward to his victory. Buster asked Nitya how long he would continue to call him uncle, because he wanted him to call him dad. Needy hesitated. He knew that if the monster heard him call him daddy, he would take him away. Needy said it was too early and ran away from Buster. The man was surprised, but he smiled looking after him. Buster screamed furiously. He could not wake his wife. When did she wake up? He said that she promised to be ready by 10, and it was already 10:30. The girl was very surprised that she overslept. Buster said she asked for it. He picked her up and carried her downstairs. Karen was shocked by what he was doing. Buster said that it was time for the meal, so she would eat in what she was wearing. Needy ran to his mother in joy. Karen noticed that the boy woke up earlier than usual. He said that there would be a masquerade today, and he called his mother to go with them. Buster said he has a lot of different masks in his pantry, so they can pick any they like. Buster said he simply collects them because he attends such an event every year. While he was saying this, he blushed deeply. Karen was surprised that he could be shy. When Karen saw the food, she said that she was given too large a portion. Buster said this is the recommended serving for an adult lady. Karen started eating and really enjoyed it. The food was radically different from what she cooked. Seasonings gave the dish an even more refined taste. Karen said with amazement that she never thought that cabbage could be so tasty. Buster was glad she liked it. Buster said that he had received an invitation to the Emperor's birthday celebration. Karen knew that attendance at such an event was mandatory for the court. She said she had no choice and had to go. Buster said that if she doesn't want to, then she doesn't have to go. Karen knew there would be consequences if they didn't come. Buster said it was his job to cater to the Emperor's whims. But if she wants to try, then he will definitely help her. He had no doubt that Karen would be the most beautiful lady at the ball. Buster said her father wouldn't even dare approach her. He smiled and told her to remember that she was a duchess, so that no one can harm her. Buster said that if she had not yet found the courage to go out in public, then they could try another time. He also said that in any case, the choice is entirely hers. Karen said she needed to think about it. Nitans chose a bunny mask. Kieran was surprised and said that there were lion and leopard masks. Needy said that the rabbit has red eyes like him. Karen looked at Buster and asked why he chose the wolf mask. Buster said he was simply following the legend of the red-eyed wolf. Buster asked why she chose the fox. Karen said that the mask is the same color as Thread's mask. Needy said that his mask is friends with Mommy's mask. Karen said with a smile on her face that today is the day when the white fox and the white rabbit will become best friends. Karen said that if Buster is lonely, he can become a white wolf and join them. Buster didn't answer anything intelligibly. People on the street admired the beauty of the fair. Buster said that the spirit world masks are the main event of the festival. They say that if you wear a mask, you can enter the world of spirits. Buster asked Karen if she knew the folk stories that tell about the spirit world. Karen said that, unfortunately, she does not know the stories. Buster said that in the South there is a legend that there is a secret passage through which spirits enter their world, but it opens only on summer and autumn nights. There was an opinion that spirits and some animals could pass through the secret passage. That's why people put on animal masks to penetrate the world, the spirits, and see what it's like. Karen was very interested. After all, she had never heard of such a thing. She was having a lot of fun. Karen was glad that they came to such a place. Buster saw a shop selling masks. He asked his companions to wait a little while he went and bought a white wolf mask. He said that he bought the white mask only because it was very rare. His dear companions knew that he was a deceiver. He just wanted to wear a white mask. Buster hurried them. They went deeper into the fair. Karen saw so many people. The girl remembered all their conversations. People looked down on and condemned the poor girl. She felt bad. Buster ran up to her. He didn't understand what was happening. Buster was very worried about his wife. The girl was in a panic. She heard many voices in her head. She frantically asked for help. Buster tore off her mask and began to calm her down. He shouted at her to breathe and listen to his voice. Buster assured her that she was a strong woman, who raised her son, giving him love and care. Karen came to her senses, and she quietly bowed her head on her husband's shoulder. He told her that as long as she was with him, she would be fine, and no one will dare to offend her. He told her that she should not give up. Karen raised her head and said that she would not give up. She knew that she needed to live for her son and for a better life. Her men were very worried about her, but Karen assured them one by one that she was fine. Buster offered them fried vegetables. Needy and Karen were skeptical about this treat. Buster assured them that the food was very tasty, so the locals have learned to cook them, and the taste is simply great. Karen didn't really like vegetables. As soon as they tried the vegetables, they were stunned. They really liked it. Needy devoured the treat in no time. Karen asked if he might want to eat her treat as well, since she didn't want any more. Needy said that he was full and wants his mother to eat. Buster looked at them and told them to stop acting like that and thinking about money. Karen just smiled and said nothing. She liked Buster's concern. Buster looked at Karen and said that she needed to buy more dresses. Karen said that the 5 she has are enough for her. Buster said he doesn't think that's enough. Buster thought for a moment and said that he needed to call the self-proclaimed traveling designer. Buster noticed that he was a very eccentric young man who traveled all over the world. Karen asked how he knew such a free soul. Buster said the man was in the Empire a week ago. Karen noted that they were lucky. Buster asked Needy if he wanted a new toy. Needy was happy and said that he would really like to. 2 months have passed. Karen and Buster were drinking tea. Needy ran up to them. He told his mother that he was already back. Karen was very happy. Needy asked his mother if she eats with her uncle. Needy saw Buster and said that he had already returned home. Buster said with a smile that he already understood that, and he asked the boy to go wash his hands. Needy ran to wash his hands. Buster and Karen were left alone. Buster said that they had become very close lately, and he asked when Needy would start calling him father. Karen was shocked. She couldn't think that he would say that. The girl hesitated and said that she thought he didn't like children. Buster said they are different, and he likes spending time with them. Karen said she was very happy that they were able to become good friends. Karen thanked Buster for being in her life. She said that if it had not been for him, she would have been sold to someone else, and it is not known what would have happened to her. Buster was shocked. Karen said that the Count wanted to buy it. Buster understood who the girl was talking about. Karen said that her father was going to sell her to the Count. Buster was shocked. The Viscount is crazy about money. Karen said that she did not want to be sold to the Count. So I came up with a plan. She decided, let's take it. Now Karen knew that she had acted rashly. She had made this choice when she was young and naive, but now she wished she had thought it through. She was scared at the thought of what the poor child had gone through. She knew that she had committed a sin that she could never undo. Karen felt guilty for not being able to give him a good life. Karen knew she had to find another choice, even if she had to hurt herself. But still, she had no choice but to get pregnant. Karen was grateful to Buster for giving her and Needy a new life. Karen didn't want to be a burden to him. She asked to be given time to think about the proposal. The man knew that even if it was a refusal, he had no right not to argue, since he respected her decision, but still his heart was heavy. The man told the young lady that they had found a designer who would make her a dress. Karen asked what he was like. Buster said he looked a little like a fox. Karen said that he sounds very nice and she wants to meet him. The man was sure that it was not cute at all, but on the contrary. Buster said that he would advise her not to look at him, as he might give her nightmares. Karen said she had a question for Buster. She was very interested in how attractive he was by beauty standards. Buster hesitated very much, because he did not expect such a question. He said that he did not even know. But he thinks that he is the most ordinary. Karen was at a loss. She heard his answer and realized that if he considers himself ordinary, then she falls into the category of ugly people. She did not consider herself as attractive as others. Buster told her not to get carried away with the young designer. Karen agreed with him, but she also asked why he married her. Buster was shocked. He didn't know what to answer. He asked why she asked so suddenly. Karina asked why he married such an unattractive woman like her. The man was in shock. He did not understand how such a ridiculous idea came into her head. The girl wanted him to be frank and honest with her. The girl knew that he refused the proposal of the princess herself. The man hesitated and asked how she knew this. The girl said that she has ears, and the servants always don't mind gossiping. The man said that they were not made for each other, since the princess is very narcissistic and often behaves like a child, and wants all her whims to be fulfilled, and no one dare to contradict her. But, unfortunately, it was quite difficult to refuse her. The girl said that she understood everything, and understood that appearance is not important to him. That's why she became his wife. He was shocked, and said that in fact everything was wrong, and said that he thought she was very beautiful. Buster asked her if she's thought about the emperor's birthday. The girl hesitated. She didn't know what to answer him. She asked if there would be children there besides Needy. The man said that most likely there would be a lot of children, but they could be placed in a separate place so that they could have fun there. The young lady hesitated. She did not know whether she should go just for the sake of her son, but she wanted him to grow up surrounded by friends to have fun with. The man said that he wanted her to think about herself. He asks her if she doesn't want to take revenge on her father. The girl was confused. He said that they bullied her and even wanted to sell her to the Count, and all this could not help but leave scars on her heart. The man said that if she needed his help, she just had to ask, and he would solve everything. Karen said that if he helped her, she would undoubtedly be grateful. But after such actions, he would become someone she would fear and disrespect. The girl added that then she would not grow up at all and would be afraid all her life. Karina always thought about this. She really wanted to deal with her father on her own, and after that, she will be able to do something more. But now she most wanted to move on and become something she herself can be proud of. The man agreed with her and said that then he would inform the servants so that they would prepare everything for the trip to the emperor's holiday. Karen looked at her husband and asked him not to leave her alone, because next to him she feels that she can move on. He looked at her and said that if this is what she wants, then he promises to never let her go. A young man was walking late at night, accompanied by young gentlemen. He said all the way that he was very cold. Other men hurried him along, but he was angry and said that he was very cold and that his hands were freezing. He also said that he was hungry and could not go anywhere else. He asked them to leave him in that place. One of the men couldn't stand his whining anymore. He grabbed him, threw him on his back, and carried him. The young master shouted to let him go, since he could walk with his own feet. He shouted that he would be sued for kidnapping. But the man said that if he wanted to do this, he would have to turn to the Archduke. The young master was furiously angry. He shouted that he would kill everyone and would never forgive them for such behavior. He shouted that he was a skilled designer and did not stir the potatoes. The young gentlemen hurried as best they could. They did not want to stay late because they wanted to complete the assignment quickly. Karen thought about her husband's words. She knew that she wanted to take revenge on her father, but unfortunately, she didn't know how to do it. She was still weak, and even now she was shrouded in fear of the man. The girl was afraid that her father might find out who the real father of her son is and do something very bad towards them. He could use this connection to discredit the Archduke. Karen thought that if her husband found out the truth about her son, he would most likely think that she was simply taking advantage of him. But the girl knew that sooner or later she would have to tell him the truth. Karen knew that to do this, she needed to become stronger, much stronger. Buster came to Karen. He gently touched her and said that she was a real sleepyhead. He told her that she needed to get ready as the designer had already arrived. Buster said that she slept for quite a long time and asked if she was suffering from insomnia. The girl said that she was fine and just felt very warm and cozy in bed. She asked when her room would be ready. Buster hesitated a little. Karen said that she stayed in his room for a short time, but he told her that he would prepare a room for her. The man looked at her and asked if she would like to stay with him. The girl hesitated. She said it wasn't that she didn't want to stay in the room with him, but she was causing him a lot of trouble. Buster said she shouldn't worry about anything. He can sleep in an uncomfortable position and doesn't care about her nightmares at all. The girl was a little surprised. The man said he would always be there for her and asked if she didn't feel better when he stroked her back last night. Karen felt very awkward. She said that she urgently needed her own room in order to avoid such situations. Buster said she had nothing to worry about. He asked if she had fewer nightmares. Karen thought about this for a moment. Buster said that it was all because he slept next to her and added that she had nothing to be ashamed of at all, since every person needs someone who will always be there. Karina considered herself a burden because at their first meeting, he said not to bother him, and she didn't want to disturb him or put a spoke in his wheels. The young man said that everything was not like that at all, and added that if she did, he wouldn't mind her bothering him, and said that she could always call him for help. Buster said that they had to leave already, so it was time for her to get ready. Karen was very surprised by all his words. She was very pleased. She noticed that he was blushing a little. Karen saw Buster and asked why he was waiting for her. The man said that he would accompany her. Buster said he also intends to take advantage of the opportunity to purchase some suits. Basta said that they would not be able to meet tomorrow, as he had important matters to attend to. Karina said that he was fine. She understood everything. He hesitated a little and asked if she was interested in where he was going. Karen asked if she could find out this, and it wouldn't be too strange if she asked this. Buster said that she can do anything, since she is his wife. Karen smiled a little and asked what would happen tomorrow. Buster said that he was cursed from birth, and when night fell, he lost his sight. Karen remembered the day when they first met. He had slightly different eyes. Now everything became clear to her. Today, she understood why he didn't recognize her. Buster looked at his wife and said that she didn't look surprised. Karen said that everyone takes their time, and he was no exception. She also added that he wouldn't. They forced them to tell them, and that's it, if he wasn't ready yet. Buster thought she was a very understanding wife. Entering the room, they saw the pogrom and the sleeping young designer. Buster was angry. He grabbed him by the shirt and dragged him to the balcony. He intended to teach him a lesson for such rude behavior. The young man screamed furiously. But later he noticed that they had not seen each other for a long time and said that the Archduke looked beautiful, as always. The man said that he could spare him if he made 100 dresses. The young man was shocked. He did not understand how he could make only clothes. Buster yelled at him and said that then he would die. The young man, under pressure, completely agreed and said that he would do everything. Sitting on the floor, the young designer told Buster that, despite his high position in society, he could not threaten to kill anyone. Buster said that it was very funny for him to see how he was now trying to get out, and reminded him that he had ignored his orders. The young designer asked why Buster needed so many dresses. The young Archduke said that he needed clothes for his wife and son. The young man was shocked that Buster got married and had a child. Buster said the boy was attending classes. The young man hesitated. He did not understand how he could have such a big child, and said that this was probably some kind of joke. Buster introduced the designer to his young wife. The young designer was shocked, and he frantically wanted to find out the truth from the girl. He persistently asked if what the Archduke said was true. Karen confirmed her husband's words. The young man was puzzled and could not believe what was said. The young designer introduced himself, and Karina remembered his name. He was a famous designer, and all the high-ranking women wore his clothes. The young man said that she thought everything correctly, and he is the second son of Count Pallet. But since he did not inherit his title, he traveled and created clothes. Buster said he was kicked out of his family. Karen was surprised and amazed. Karen said that she may have offended him with her reaction. The young man said that not at all. He was just a little surprised, since they usually look down on him because the Countess renounced him. Karina said that she really admires his decision. He simply followed his own path and also followed his dreams, and no one became a hindrance to him. The young designer thanked her. Karen said that she had not seen his work. A young man approached Buster and said that he was wearing clothes today that he had sewn with his own hands. The girl was surprised and really liked it. She praised him. The young man wanted more praise and a different reaction. The girl said that she doesn't know much about fashion and asked for his forgiveness. The young man said that he would definitely make dresses for her. He also added that he did not know if he could make a large quantity, but at least he could make enough for her daily life. The girl smiled and became embarrassed. She said she didn't really need much and asked her to focus on her son's clothes. Buster told the young man to work on his formal dress for now, as it was needed for the emperor's ball. As for the rest, he can take his time. The young man thought that he had not called on his little helpers for a long time. Karen was surprised. The young man said that he calls upon the spirits of water and wind. He used a special cloth because it could not be found in this world. Karen had heard of spirits entering their world, but she had never seen anything like it. The man explained to her that he extracts fabric from the essence of wind and water, because it is very light and breathable, and it's special because not many people can make one like this. The girl frantically admired the beautiful fabric. She had never seen anything like it. Karen asked if she could accept such an amazing thing. The young designer thought it was strange that the noblewoman was surprisingly so modest and polite. The girl showed her husband the fabric, and they admired her together. Karina said that she would like to make a lot of cute clothes for her son. Buster said that children grow up very quickly, so they shouldn't make a lot of clothes for him now. Karen thought that he was right, and that it made sense. He looked at her and said that they didn't want clothes to go to waste. The young man stood and watched their conversation. He was shocked that Buster was actually enjoying the conversation. He had never seen such a tender expression on his face. He knew that Buster always ordered people around, or threatened them when they argued with him. But he couldn't believe that someone like him could talk so tenderly to someone. It was an amazing sight. The young man said that he needed to take measurements. Karen agreed and began to undress. Buster was shocked. He stopped her. He asked what she was doing and why she was undressing. Karina said that this way you will get the right size. Buster was puzzled by this reaction. He asked who told her to do this. The girl said that the designers were from a boutique. Buster asked if the designers and tailors were men. The girl confirmed his words. He asked if they did anything strange. She was puzzled and said that they did nothing and asked why he was asking. The man said that it is not necessary to undress to take measurements, and moreover, male tailors very rarely had the opportunity to earn money with significant data. The girl froze. Karina was puzzled as she realized their strange behavior at work. She apologized to her husband. Buster asked why she was apologizing. The girl could not answer him. She was confused by the whole situation. A servant came to them and said that Threads would return home. Buster told Sun to go first. He wanted to be alone with his wife and talk a little. The dream obediently went down. He realized that after everything that had happened, he had to leave them alone. Buster and Karen were left alone. Buster said he wasn't mad at her. He is only angry with the Viscount and those pathetic tailors. The girl realized that this was all due to her ignorance, Buster said he wanted her to be honest with him. Buster said he had a hard time understanding what she was thinking, so he wished she would be more direct. Karen was puzzled and shocked by everything that was happening. Karen said that it seems to her that there is a lot in the world that she does not know and cannot do. Buster didn't want her to constantly apologize. He wanted her to be happy and smile more often. He asked what she really liked. She replied that she was her son. Buster asked her if she likes anything else. Karen looked at him with a smile and said that now she likes him too. She said that it had been many years since she had met someone as kind as him. Buster was surprised. He understood who she was talking about. Buster asked if Nidhi's father had been kind to her. The girl remembered that night with a smile and warmth and said that the young man was very gentle with her. Buster was a little angry. It was unpleasant for him to hear this. He asked whether it was true or that the man was dead. Because if there is a chance that he is alive, then he may come to them in search of his son, or he may blackmail the girl. Karen said he wouldn't do that. Buster couldn't understand why she trusted him so much. He said he needed to take care of the report, so they can only see each other at dinner. Buster left the room when suddenly he saw a scout from behind him. Buster asked what he wanted to report to him. The man said that they examined the villages and realized that the epidemic had begun. Buster told him to make sure that every village isolates the infected. He also told the man to pay attention to the water supply system. Buster said that if someone sick tries to get into the region, they will need to detain him and find out what he is sick with. Buster asked the young man to convene all interested parties so that they could develop a plan of action. The man obediently agreed and left the Archduke, leaving him alone. Buster knew he would have to leave home for a while. He was very worried about being away from home. He sincerely hoped that nothing would happen to his family. It's already dark. The man was left alone with himself. A curse awaited him. He knew that the curse ran in the blood of his family. It could never be removed, and what matters is how much he read and searched for information. He had heard rumors that some had healed on their own, but the records were made so long ago that there was no proof. However, his father was freed from the curse. But, unfortunately, I did not consider it necessary to tell what the secret was. Instead of telling, he handed over the title of Archduke and disappeared along with his wife. Buster had not seen his father and mother for more than 5 years. He was bored and did not understand how his own father could do this to his own son. Buster was puzzled. He was pondering his curse when he suddenly heard a knock on the door. He was shocked because he did not expect anyone at such a time and on such a day. Karen knocked on his door. He was surprised that she came. He didn't expect to see her at all.